You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Have you ever thought, why are my students so anxious? How can I get them to calm down? I'm definitely not a behavior specialist. I wish the teachers didn't think I have a magic wand. I need more tricks up my sleeve than just deep breathing exercises. I wish I could help my students more, but I just don't know how. Well, if you've ever thought any of those thoughts, you are not alone, and you are going to love my training on how to help students break the stress cycle, the anxiety management tool that you didn't learn in grad school. This anxiety management strategy that I'll be sharing has been a complete game changer for me, y'all. It's no surprise that kids are anxious now more than ever, right? And as a counselor, I knew my students struggled with anxiety, but I wanted to offer them more than just the same old deep breathing exercises. But once I started researching the stress cycle and the physiological effects of anxiety back in 2019, I was obsessed. It just made sense to me. Knowing I have the tools to help students self-regulate and return to class ready to learn has allowed me to feel confident and prepared to deal with anxiety. Whatever the reason is that you're looking into this training, I get it, and I want to empower you to help your students. This is a free live training that I'm offering. I don't want you to miss it. You're going to love it, and you're going to learn so much. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/stress cycle to save your seat today. And we're offering a few different times so you can find the one that works best for you. Again, it's stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/stress cycle. Okay, let's go to today's episode. You're listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. Welcome back, guys. If you listened last week, we were talking all about what you can do during the month of March for Tier 1, and today we're going to talk about Tier 2. So basically what I'm doing in this podcast series is I'm taking you tier by tier through my curriculum map, where I'm suggesting some resources that you can try out across each tier and a companion data tool to try. That way you can help serve your students best during the month of March. So I love to use a curriculum map. It's a great way to stay organized, and I give these to my impact members. So my impact members get a curriculum map where they can see what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Not only that, they also get the included resources. So for example, last week I was talking about a self-regulation lesson and some ideas for that. So if you're an impact member, you see the lesson plan that says to do self-regulation lesson, and then all they have to do is click it and they get the self-regulation lesson right there included in their membership. Impact also includes all of my counseling resources. So everything in my TPT store, everything on my website, it's all included for impact members. So if you're interested in Impact, go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/impact to learn more. We would love to have you in there. But also, I have a freebie for you. So, podcast listeners, I'm giving you a freebie so you can try this out for yourself with the lesson plans. Go to bit.ly/counseling lesson plans, and you can get a free editable year-long curriculum map with every month listed there on what you can do across tiers. So I'm kind of pulling out a tidbit of that here with March, but if you go to bit.ly/counseling lesson plans, you'll get that curriculum map freebie that gives you lesson plans for the entire year, which I think you're going to love. Okay, so let's dive in to Tier 2 for March. So Tier 2 is our small groups, and of course these are going to be referral based. So if you have a lot of referrals on something else, then you may not have time to do this one. But if you're looking to start a new group, one that I love to recommend this time of year is an academic skills small group. As testing season approaches, form an academic skills group to help students be more successful in school by focusing on preparedness, executive functioning, and test anxiety. You can get referrals from teachers to determine participants. So you can say, hey teachers, I'm thinking of doing this academic skills small group to prep for testing season. Which kiddos of yours do you recommend? Believe me, you'll probably get a laundry list. Gosh, there's so much you can do with an academic skills small group, and my small groups are usually like 8 weeks full of icebreakers and activities, so I don't have time to go through every single one of those. I'll link to my group in the show notes if you want to check it out, but I'm going to give you a few ideas that you could do with this academic skills group during March. So first, I love to do some test-taking tips matching game. So this is a fun way to review actual strategies and test-taking tips that the students can use, and then we'll reflect on it. So that's kind of how I like to set up this group. Like the first activity is a very practical, like here's a test-taking strategy to learn. But then the second part is more self-reflective, like Do you think you'll use this strategy? Have you tried this strategy in the past? Do you think this will work for you? Things like that. But with the matching game, so fun. It's like memory game. You put all the cards down and you're trying to form pairs. And when you get a pair, you read it and you take it. Person with the most pairs wins. But the pairs are going to be informative themselves. Like, for example, a reading test tip would be to read the questions before the passage so you know what you should be looking for while you read. Or a math test tip would be stuck on a math question, plug in all the answers listed, and see which one works. Something like that. So it's just a way to teach some strategies while playing a game. And then afterwards, you could do a little, discussion dice talking about which strategy seems the most difficult. Have you used any of these in the past? Do you think this will help? What do you think it means to be a good test taker? Things like that. Now, the second thing that I want to recommend you could do is a fun board game. Now, I love to do board games in small groups, and a fun one you could do would be prepared or procrastinator. And you can discuss the differences between being prepared for a test versus procrastinating and waiting till the last minute. And basically, it's just a simple board game, but if they land on a prepared card, they read the prepared scenario and then they get to advance forward. Whereas if they land on a procrastinator card, they have to read it and then they usually have to go back, showing them that to procrastinate is pushing you back, whereas being prepared is propelling you forward. So some examples of what you could put on those cards is like, for the prepared one, you charge your computer at night before going to school so you don't have to look for an outlet during class. Move forward 2 spaces. Whereas a procrastinator would be something like, you have a group project due on Friday and you still haven't finished your part, and it's Thursday night. Move back 2 spaces. I also love to use this group to help students prioritize and help them write out their daily schedule. Maybe they have sports, maybe they have chores at home, maybe they have other tasks or duties that they have to do, and then where's everything going to fit in at, and actually writing the schedule down with them. And then, of course, you can always touch on that test anxiety piece and some coping skills that they can use when they're feeling anxious about an upcoming test. I think your students will love this group. Like I said, if you're looking for a group to start, send a feeler, email out to teachers to see if there's interest in this, but I'm pretty sure you'll get some referrals, especially regarding test anxiety and things like that. Speaking of anxiety, I don't want you guys to miss my free live training that I'm doing, helping students break the stress cycle, the anxiety management tool that you didn't learn in grad school. You guys are going to love this. If you're ever wondering why your kiddos are so anxious, or you wish teachers didn't think you just had a magic wand to make it all better, you're going to love learning some concrete strategies in my free live training. Now, I'm offering a couple different times. You can choose the one that works best for you. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/stress cycle to save your seat. And show up live, because everyone who attends will get a PD certificate and a free resource included. So I really hope I'll see you guys there. Again, you can save your seat at stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/stress cycle. I hope you found this episode really helpful, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.